and your knee.
That part.
Now, the thing about what Harold Cruz is trying to tell you is that other people value your thoughts. People pay a bunch of money. The government allocated funds, built buildings, just to know who are the thinkers in your community. Now, why would they be doing that?
You just said
So it's bigger than that. If I create a space to hold the ideas of people who are the thinkers in the community, in case there's a rebellion, what do I think? That there's going to be a rebellion. And why do I think it's going to be a rebellion?
because the next people will want to, want to fight against their oppressors.
Bigger than that? A little smaller than that, actually. Yes? A little? Why do you think that? Why do I think there's going to be a rebellion?
Because you're doing something wrong.
Because you're doing bad things to them. Even the slightest thing. If I just stood next to you and just keep plucking your ear, eventually you swing. All right, then. I think I'm stupid enough to do that. Just take a L. He'll tell you when I do ignorant things and bad things happen, I'll be like, look, it's about time. Ignorance has a way of getting that right. So over time, over systemic oppression, ignorant thing after ignorant thing, 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 people will get upset. But one of Cruz's later books says that the distinction between a rebellion and a revolution is whether or not it has stated goals, whether or not it's under control. Here's everybody's favorite black man, now that he's dead. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., y'all heard of him?
I think I've heard of it.
That's everybody has.
Yeah, y'all heard about him. He's like Santa Claus now. And he's actually, because he's not here. The part where, he got assassinated, we almost forgot that part altogether. Now, people think he just like died in his sleep at night. People went to sleep in a tent outside. 10,000 of them.
No, because the way that it's built in like education nowadays, like all we talk about is Martin Luther King, like Black history. So
Yeah, he's the only black person.
that's the only black thing that they
Because they manipulated his message to
Him
make
and
his
Harriet
house go to
Tubman.
white audiences.
That's
yeah,
certainly
it's like
true.
Rosa Parks, Harriet
But-
Tubman, and Martin Luther King.
But
No,
the thing,
that's
all
but
how
the thing
it's
about
going
what
to
Cruz was getting at, the thing about what Cruz was getting at though, in 1967, is how do we conceptualize what the purpose of being a black person who thinks, what does that mean, what does it do? What impact does that have? How do you affect communities? How do you affect change? How do you affect literacy? How do you affect education? How do you affect public policy? How do you affect those things? And what happens if you forsake that? The title is called The Crisis of the Negro Intellect. The reason he uses it in theory discusses it as a crisis, right? The reason he discusses it as a crisis is because largely people are not doing their job. And so you have lots of people who are out here just thinking stuff. Yeah. Now, and I still love you. And I still love you. Right. So, because people don't do their job. It's the sustainability question. Who creates the things? Who gives people direction? Who tells people when to be upset?
Like,
I give you here's a scary thing that will happen to you. How old are you? 9?
9.
2009.
3, whatever. Who's the oldest person in here that's right here? Yeah, how old are you? How old are you? 18, great. You almost there. Here's what's gonna happen in 3 more years. 3 more years, you're gonna be asleep. It's gonna be about 9 o'clock. It's gonna be on the weekend. It's gonna be a Saturday, because Friday could be difficult.
Mm.
It's gonna happen. I swear it's gonna happen to you. Your phone gonna ring. Did your phone?
Yeah.
You gonna decline? It's gonna ring again. You can be sleeping. You answer what? And then somebody older than you, about 50 or 60, gonna be on the other side of the phone. Baby, who you gonna vote for in this election? Who should I vote for? You know about these people? Who are these people on this here ballot? You can go, what? I know you be smart and you know about the politics and things. Who I'm supposed to vote for? What you think about, is the president doing good or not? Should I be mad? You like the governor? Who the mayor? What the mayor name? What's his name? They ain't got one of them African names. Oh. It ain't happened to you yet. Why? Now, that's going to be annoying because Friday could have been rough for you. You catch that rough later. That'll hit you later on. Friday might be rough for you. It's early Saturday morning now, what that person is really saying is, what should I intellectual, like you are an intellectual. And I know that you're educated about the political sphere, what's going on in the world, and you help me understand what I should be doing. Now, what happens if everybody who has a political education and is aware of that does their job? What is the condition of the community?
Better. More roots. Good. Educated.
Well, why do you use the term better?
Because if you're being educated by intellectuals who are telling you who's going to be the best for your community, and your community is actually going out there and voting for who's going to be better for your community and who's going to actually, you got somewhere out there.
Yeah. Are you going to vote for somebody who's going to say, our clean air?
No, I'm not. Don't
it's going to go to China. And China's dirty air.
Wait,
it's going to float over here.
Why he said it? Then he said if we clean China's air, it's going to
if we clean our air.
Right.
Some more. Right. Then our good air going to go to China.
But how is that possible?
And China's bad air going to come over here.
I don't understand that though.
I know you don't. And the reason you can't conceptualize that is because you have a certain level of political education, which is more than a large percentage of the population. Man, I can't get y'all to go outside under no circumstances unless it's absolutely a fire drill right now. Unless this fire alarm go off, y'all ain't going outside.
Well, why would I?
Y'all gonna be like, it's hot, I'm thirsty, I'm tired, you getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't going.
No, you don't.
If I say let's go out, you ain't going, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And you be the only one biking, ain't nobody going.
Right. Better though.
I can't get Elijah to come outside with me and do anything unless I'm very specific about what's gonna happen. That will never change. It's hot. If I tell him we going outside, it better be a meal involved. And I better be paying. We going outside? Oh. Ain't gonna happen. I'm just telling you the truth. If I don't even I wouldn't, because y'all are my children and I love you. And y'all are all from my community. I love you. So I'm not even gonna repeat what he would say if I told him to get on the plane and we going to Dallas and we fit to sleep outside. And when we get outside, we're gonna be in this tent and we're gonna stay here because JFK is not actually dead. And he gonna show up, and when we get there, he gonna say, I ain't gonna repeat what I know would be said to me if I did that. See, y'all laughing. Y'all laughing. It's okay. But here's the scary thing. Cruz said that the black community is in danger of believing that exact same foolishness.
They are.
Being able to be manipulated in that exact way. I know people who thought that when Barack Obama won, we was all getting ready. Life was going to be amazing. I don't even want to repeat it. I don't even want to repeat it. Y'all hurt my feelings.
Well, I don't really know. I mean,
I don't remember.
He okay.
All I remember is music.
He okay. I like his life.
I hope him terrorist.
Is the camera rolling?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yup.
Oh, nice. What did Barack Obama change?
Nothing, he was a terrorist.
No, I did not.
What?
They said he put like cages.
He was a war criminal.
Who did he put?
I need y'all to be quiet.
Oh, he was president of criminal. Okay, but he was the biggest one ever. He is a war criminal.
He was the biggest one. No,
Not the biggest.
Yes,
He was. He sent bombs daily.
Yeah, they're way worse. They're way worse.
Towards Iraq. Have y'all heard about
the Japan did to Korea?
Okay, but
that
how
was
was
worse.
supposed to be this big? It was supposed to
That
be
was
like the
worse.
good one. But no, it's not. He's a liar. He's
All of
a
them are
snake.
liars.
He's a snake.
Okay, but don't
But I
white.
believe in him. I thought Barack Obama was like godly, but no,
Because he's black.
homeboy is a terrorist. That's the only reason why, because
No,
I finally
then.
saw somebody that looked like me
All right.
telling me what to do.
Now, watch this. Edward Snowden.
This white man?
This very European person. Yeah.
Edward Cullen.
Now,
He look.
this thing that I told y'all about whether or not you understand politics, and if you don't understand research, you'll be manipulated by other people. Snowden is kind of like this modern era's moment of what can happen. So you are born, a baby, what time? Yeah, you was born 2009, 19. Okay, cool. Whatever. Now, the thing about that is that here's what happened. In 2001, we all know there was a bad moment in America, not too far from here in New York, where planes flew into buildings, the whole thing.
2001?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said 2021. I was like, what are you talking about? I thought you were talking about COVID.
Come on now.
COVID.
That's 2019. That's help us all. Research important. Okay, don't sleep outside. Don't sleep outside. Don't get a tent. Don't get a tent. Snowden came out and told the world that America was engaged in all manners of surveillance, checking people's phones, everything, checking people's emails, all kinds of stuff. Guess where he lives now?
The streets.
Russia.
What? Russia beat in man one.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's why. Why is he living in Russia?
Here's what's important. All that's a different conversation. Whatever Snowden did, though, was expose that the way we think about democracy and when we think about how these ideas function don't quite work like that. All of your ideas of your privacy, all of that. How many of y'all use social media? Yeah, you don't use social media? Good. I was gonna say, you definitely won't have a 10. At least you won't have a 10. Okay, don't get no 10. Don't get no 10.
I know.
You better not.
You know.
You ain't natural. You cannot sleep outside.
What? That's what we mean. My ancestors was doing.
Yeah. No, actually it wasn't. That's why I don't
Yes,
get
it
do some research. It's okay.
Because I'm
It's-
telling you, they
don't-
can't.
Don't get a 10.
They can't.
Don't you get on the plane. Now, the thing about it, right? The thing about this surveillance research and all of that is it's important to understand how all these things happen. It's important to know that maybe your privacy doesn't exist at the level you do. It's important to know what that means. It's important to be able to critically think about that. Now, most of you are probably thinking, well, how did all this start? Well, before we can get to, surveillance and black people's responsibility and all that, we need to understand how do we get all of these generations and generations of ideas that are problematic for so many different groups of people. So intellectuals, into the intellectual class and the beginning of academia in America has a really, really difficult and problematic history. Okay? There's this book. I have no idea why I don't have this picture. It's written by a man named Craig Stephen Wilder, and it's called Ebony and Ivy, Race, Slavery, and the Troubled History of America's Universities. One of the things Dr. Wilder does, Mr. Austin, y'all know what school he went to? College?
Yeah. I thought it was
Oh,
Howard.
Harvard.
He went to Yale.
Oh,
Yeah. Yale is on this list. Rutgers sadly is on this list. The Dartmouth, William and Mary, Columbia, Harvard is on this list.
I know this.
wait, Austin?
No,
Oh, sorry.
don't get him no 10.
No, I wasn't.
You better not.
Sorry, I
get him
was
10.
not. I didn't.
You know JFK Jr. died, you know.
I know that. I know that.
He did?
Did he not?
He gonna be at the next election if you wanna
First of all, he's still living.
he gonna come speak tomorrow
He's going to
here.
running for the Senate.
All right, look, no, seriously. The thing about this, right, is that a lot of these institutions which were integral to the rise and debate and all of that, a lot of these institutions, a lot of these places, all of this stuff, have a history that's connected to oppression.
Yeah, they sold slaves.
Not only, that research is even more interesting, but what we do know is that in terms of building slaves, having a building slave, in terms of building buildings, having money for having the resources that created academia, all of that, it came from slavery. A lot of the people who were the first graduates of some of these universities are going to come along and become some of the most famous racially problematic figures in U.S. history. Yes.
Like good or bad?
Very problematic.
Like good problematic or bad?
Bad.
What
We're
was
talking about
problematic?
one.
And problematic.
Okay, let's give space.
Let's
for
drink.
learning.
I am.
Everyone.
Hold up now. Listen, it's all right. Don't you get on that plane.
Why would I get on that
And
plane?
don't get no ticket.
It's like $1,000 ticket. I'm not doing that.
For the rest of the year, I'll be like, you got a ticket? You don't have no ticket. So,
I have a question.
yes.
You say that people who graduate from these schools
Some of them are going to become some of the major figures that create the intellectual foundations for things that you still deal with. So for example, right? Money from the purchase and sale of human beings built campuses, stocked libraries, and swelled the endowments of American colleges. Slaves waited on faculty and students. Academic leaders eagerly courted the support of slaveholders and slave traders. Ultimately, our leading universities were thoroughly dependent on enslavement and became breeding grounds for the racist ideas of sustainment. In short, the American Academy never stood apart from American slavery. It stood beside church and state as the third pillar of a civilization built on bondage.
So who goes to these schools? For example, if you go to Harvard, are they like in a way supporting the
Well, there's a
Yes.
Harvard, there's a case coming before the Supreme Court that Kentucky Brown, I think, has already recused herself from about reparations. Yeah.
Wait, what is that?
Recuse means I'm not gonna hear it. I'm not gonna listen to it.
Really?
Yeah, doesn't that mean you remove yourself from it?
Yes.
So she just
Why did she do that?
She's like on one of the like advisory boards.
I thought she was for us. I thought she was for
Yeah, but she's on the, yes, but it's kind of like if your brother goes up, if your brother is going up for court. Yeah, gotcha. Your brother going up for court, you can't sit on the jury.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes. So, all of the universities have this kind of problematic history. The major foundational universities in this country have this issue. So if I start asking you, insert problematic politician in your head and say, what college they go to? What college they go to?
Harvard.
What college they go to? What college she go to? What college she go to? Why do you think that? Why do you think that? They have these realities. Equally as important, now, here's what's interesting. Harvard College, 1681. That's a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing about research. Can anybody name 7 continents? All 7 of them? What you got?
All 7 continents?
Yeah.
North America, South America.
Slow. I'm old. North America.
South America.
Antarctica.
Europe.
Uh-huh.
Africa.
Uh-huh.
Asia.
Uh-huh.
Australia.
Uh-huh.
Antarctica.
Yes. Now, trivia question. You named 7 continents, right? Which one is the Middle East?
Africa.
Yes, certainly.
Asia?
Okay, now, let's assume, now, when you name 7 continents, how come ain't none of them called the Middle East?
Because it's shared. They share between continents.
Yeah, but why?
Africa and Asia.
Yeah, but why is not 7 continents got names? Why we don't have the 8th one called the Middle East?
Because the Middle East has been colonized so many times. It is.
No. It's because it's a creation.
That's
It's
what I
a
just said.
creation.
Man, come on.
Newark is not real.
It might not be
Newark is not real. It's not real. Can I find Newark on a map in 1551?
That,
It was great.
that was before North Valley.
Because the landmass was here, but Newark was not. Did y'all know that something used to be called the Ethiopic Ocean?
Yep, I know struggle.
Which the ocean was?
I think it was the one in Africa. By Africa.
Bless your heart. We talking about ocean. So you really do think that the clean air can go over there to the dirty air? Don't you
I
get
thought it
them?
was space for
Don't you
weather.
get that? Don't you get that tint? Yes.
Oh no, I was waiting.
Oh, sorry. Yes. The Atlantic Ocean. It used to be called the Ethiopic Ocean. Ooh, but I'm also lying. I'm
That's
always
where it's
lying.
at. Whatever.
I'm always lying. Just look it up.
Why did they change it?
Who they?
The white people.
Look it up. I could be lying.
Western and
Ethiopic?
Is
The
that a,
Ethiopic
is
Ocean.
that a
Yes.
part of Western
Ethiopic
expansion?
Ocean.
Oh, it's way. Yeah, it's Western expansion. Yes.
Oh.
Now, this biblical guy, Jesus.
Look at where it is.
What was it called?
Okay, it's not about that. Look at where we died.
Oceans aren't just like by landmass.
Okay, but look at where it was by. You asked me where it was.
Y'all pretty good.
And buy no plane ticket.
Yeah, don't you get on no 10. Now, listen. So now this guy, this biblical guy Jesus, in the Quran they call him Isa. Peace be upon him. This is what a Harvard graduate said in 1681. It's in an article called The Negro Christianized. Read it if you're in this bad mood. Look what he said. It has come to pass by providence of God, without which there comes nothing to pass, that poor Negroes are cast under your government and protection. You take them into your families, you look on them as part of your possessions, and you expect from their service a support and perhaps an increase of your other possessions. The considerations that will move you to teach your Negroes the truths of the glorious gospel, as far as you can, and bring them, it may be, to live according to those truths, are sober and righteous and guide a godly life. They are innumerable. And if you would, after a reasonable manner, consider the pleas which we have to make on behalf of God and the souls which he has made, one wonder that they should not be irresistible. Show yourselves, men, and let rational what? Arguments have their force upon you to make you treat not as brutes, but as men, those rational creatures whom God has made as your servants. Y'all laughing. This man was the leading theologian of his time. He was an academic. And this is his argument as to why slavery, why teaching enslaved Africans slavery would be good for the maintenance of slavery. Now, hold up, don't get excited, because I know you live in Newark, and y'all might walk down the street, and somebody might say some foolishness. I ain't gonna say nobody's name. Y'all seen them people wearing certain outfits. That's not my business. I don't do that. I take showers. Listen, now. Oh, God. Yes, now, here's the problem. Y'all need to catch up. Y'all from the suburbs almost. Now, look. Here's what the thing you need to understand. Here's the thing you need to understand. Conceptually, he's making this argument. John Calhoun, who created the notion of states' rights in 1804, is a Yale graduate. Yes, he has his alma mater, same as Mr. Oswald. Do whatever you want to do with that. Now, that's the reality. If you understand research, if you don't, you can be victimized by these kinds of people. Jesus, in the Bible and in the Quran, is born in a place that's so close to Africa, he can walk. The story says that Isa, peace be upon him, his family walked to Egypt. So he could not have been none of that. he could not have looked like Michelangelo painting him. Could not have worked. Research. And if he looked like that, and if he is a person who came to preach justice and liberation and freedom and all of that, this can't be right. Research. Now the last thing before I open it up, let y'all ask whatever you'd like, if you would.
I have a question.
I will. You have it in 1 second. Here's a man named Dr.
Write it
Thomas
down so you
Freeman.
don't forget.
Everybody, if Elijah walk in this area, please protect me right now. In fact, it ain't Malachi. Can you slide over right here, please? If Elijah starts coming in this direction, I don't feel safe. Security, I don't safety. This was in 2019, we celebrated the life of Dr. Thomas Freeman. He was the keynote speaker at the National Speech and Debate Association tournament. He got the Lifetime Achievement Award from the NSDA. He was the oldest serving debate coach in America. He was Dr. King's theology professor. He taught Barbara Jordan debate. If you don't know who Barbara Jordan is, figure that out. And so the reason I put him here is because a person like that and their legacy and the people they touch become the people who begin to make arguments, right? He was a consultant on the movie The Great Debaters, professor for years at Texas Southern University, and the debate coach. I cannot overstate him long enough, I can't do it. But a person like this steps in and creates a legacy of people who can answer those kinds of arguments. He's going to be the person that influences King's theology, creates who then becomes the leader of the civil rights movement, at least in performance. All of there's a list of things this person has done that I could never thank him enough. I was blessed enough to meet him. Somebody